Shalom, all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. And as you can see here, this is pretty much a video. Pretty much there was an Africa and Russia summit, right? And pretty much the which Africa we know is the land of Ham, right? And basically what's going on is the darker nations in the land of Ham, which, you know, you got a lot of Israelites there also, but that's not the point right now, right? The point is that the prophecy of Ezekiel 38 is being fulfilled, all right? And the nations in the land of Ham, the Africans in the land of Ham, all right, they are pretty much siding now with Russia, all right? They're cutting deals with Putin and siding with Putin, pretty much, all right? They don't want the influence of NATO and the EU in their countries anymore, all right? They don't want basically, when we say NATO and the EU, the crux of them is like the French, the English, and America. They don't want their influence anymore in their countries, all right? So they're fulfilling the prophecy. The prophecy of Ezekiel 38 is being fulfilled because these lesser nations are siding with the Russians, all right? And they're coming against Babylon, all right? And that's what's happening here. This is prophecy fulfilling right before our eyes, all right? Because why? Because those, I'm going to get the scripture, but because those, the Hamites in the land of Africa, all right? And there's Jakes there too, but like I say, that's not the point right now, right? The point is Ezekiel 38 is being fulfilled. But anyway, those people have been getting a shitty deal by the Western world, all right? By the countries we live in, England, America, France or whatever. They've just been getting their resources stolen and living like slaves while we over here, not particularly us, but these white people over here, these Edomites that live in the Western world, because we, even us, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and our descendants living in America and living in England and wherever we live in Europe, we're treated like shit. We're at the bottom, all right? But anyway, these Edomites, right, that live here, they've been living deliciously off of those people's backs over there, and they've had enough. So now they want to cut deals with Russia, yeah, to basically come against Babylon, destroy them, get them out of their countries, basically, and start doing trade with Russia and China. That's the idea that they have. But we know in the midst of that, Yahushua is going to return, man. So let me play this here, because this is the president of Eritrea. And, you know, he made some statements here. I was watching his meeting with Putin. It's lucky for rambling on. But he makes the points here that he basically said that NATO and the EU is in intensive care and they ain't coming back up, basically. This is what he's saying. He said, basically, in roundabout ways, telling Putin, you lead the way and we're going to basically go to war with them. So I wanted to play this point that he says here also.
We have seen what they have done the last 30 years. It's a continuation of the same ideology of slavery, colonialism, neocolonialism, then hegemony. The world will have to get out of this state of affair. We are at a crossroads. We believe we are in a transition to a new world order. How do we design a new world order? How can we possibly strategize? How do we mobilize resources? How do we make people...
Now there you go. He said we are at a crossroads. He said it's a continuation of modern day colonial slavery. All right, and he even mentions like the Native Americans, and he mentions Judah. He mentions so-called black people from Africa going into the plantations of America. He mentioned a few things in this, but the point is, he said to him, how do we strategize to create our own new world order? But guess what? The new world order is going to be when Yahushua and the angels return. All right, but this is the point anyway. Ezekiel 38 is being fulfilled. Russia's being a guard unto the lesser people of the earth. All right, this is the point. So I'm gonna read this here, because the new world order is going to be Yahushua and the Israelites ruling in the end. That's what's going to happen. But the Lord's using Russia and the lesser nations now to come up against Babylon, to destroy her, which is America. So this is Ezekiel 38 from the top. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, which is Russia, right? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And meaning he will turn them back and put hooks into their jaws, meaning what? He's going to raise up Gog and Magog, which is Russia. He's going to raise them up again, pretty much, which they were always there. Like pretty much Russia was really strong during the time of the Soviet Union. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, that was when the Western Empire, America and England, and primarily America, really rose to prominence. They were just totally dominating the planet. But the Lord saying here, he's put them hooks back into Russia's jaw, basically, to raise them back up again, which they are back up. And really throughout this time period that we've been living in, it's been only Russia that's really been the major threat to America on a global scale. And the Edomites in America know that. But now what's happening is Russia now is beginning now to make forged ties with all these other nations, China, Iran. You know, now all the Hamitic nations are getting involved. So Babylon's pretty much nearly out of here, man. We know the prophecies are close. All right. So it says, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Yeah, so he's going to raise them back up basically to that war state, man, which them Russians, you know, let's say Russia and America went at it man for man, they'll decimate America without nuclear weapons, because them Russian people are way tougher than these them Russian Edomites. They're way tougher than these Western Edomites. These these Western Edomites, man. Bunch of homosexuals. They push that weak feminization of men. They don't have family values. Whereas in Russia, the mentality is the total opposite to the American mentality. All right, totally opposite. All right. So they will destroy America. But guess what? The Lord's doing it in his way, in his movie. Okay. So it says, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia. Yeah, Persia. Who's Persia? The Iranians. They're with the Russians. Ethiopia. Who's Ethiopia? The so-called Eritreans and the land of, mainly Ethiopia, that land. But the Eritreans also are the same people, Kush, right? So they're linking up. And when you see the president of Eritrea, he was just saying all these things, you know, to Putin. He even said to Putin, look, he said years back, China was not a threat to America. Because think about it, 100 years ago, the Chinese were being mocked by the Americans. Now China's pretty much a global superpower. And now they forge ties with who? They forge ties with the Russians. So this is all coming to a head. Everything we've been saying for years is happening now. All right. So it says Persia, Ethiopia and Libya, which are considered lesser nations. They're not as mighty as the Russians, right? In terms of army and things of that nature, economy and all that. It says, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and his bands. Gomer is Turkey. They're going to link up with these nations. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter, and all his bands, and many people with thee. All right, so all these lesser nations are all coming together. Turkey, Persia, Ethiopia, and they're all coming together with who? Mainly Russia, including China, including Iran. They're all linking up, man. And it's got to come against NATO and the EU, these Western Edomites. All right. So it says, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And that's what's happening. Russia is now a guard unto these lesser nations to come against Babylon the Great, which is America. Because these lesser nations, without Russia, they couldn't talk up and say, listen, we need to take these people on now. We need to take these, that system has to be destroyed. All right. That way of life has to come to an end. They wouldn't say that without the backing of Russia. Why? Because America would just destroy them. But now Babylon, which is America, has got to think twice because Russia's there. Russia's behind them, defending them. All right. And they're making it blatant now. That Africa-Russia summit, they were basically all them, the darker nations that are there. They were basically saying, look, we don't want the French. We don't want these Western European powers among us anymore because they've done nothing but steal from our countries and pretty much live deliciously off of us. And we haven't had anything, you know. And this is the day that we look for, us Israelites, the brothers in the faith, you know, which are basically of Negro, Latino, Native American descent. We know this is prophecy because the Lord's coming back in the midst of this. All right. He's going to destroy all of them ultimately. That's the new world order is going to be Yahushua and the Israelites ruling. All right. But this is prophecy. This is a beautiful thing that we're seeing. All right. The people of the world are having enough of the Edomites. They've had enough of these, in particular, the Western Edomites. They've had enough of them. All right. And even us in this faith, we've had enough of these devils. We live among them and we see how they behave towards us, man. Their pomp, their pride. But we can see in the spirit they're going down. All right. So the guard unto them, the Russia being a guard unto these nations, this is prophecy. All right. So let me read this here. Okay. This is Isaiah 14. It's lucky, you know, can kind of ramble on a little bit right now, but you know, it is what it is, man. This is Isaiah 14 and 11. It says, well, I'll read from 4. It says, Isaiah 14 and 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Yeah, the golden city is America, Babylon the Great. And you're getting the staff of the wicked, which is the main home of the wicked, is America, man. All right. And the UK, this is where they devise all their cunning plans to destroy this planet, to keep everyone oppressed. Their wicked staff is about to be broken, man. The Lord have broke, which is the top people of the Edomites. All right. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Exactly. These devils over here in England and America, they've persecuted the rest of the world, right? That's why that's where you get the concept of a third world nation. Because why? They're being pillaged and plundered by Babylon, all right? And they've smote those people in wrath, all right? Including who? Mainly who? The Israelites. First of all, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you've been in America all these years and we've really not attained anything as a people. We've just been at the bottom, continuously being smoten, man. All right? That's what's been going on. So the Lord's really doing this for our sake, because he's going to destroy he's going to wipe all these people out in the end anyway and establish his society, his kingdom. But the point is, the so-called white man is going down, man. He smote the people with wrath and he's just been plundering. And these, even on a lower level, these lower level Edomites, they've lived deliciously off of our backs, right in front of us, rubbing it in our faces. But now they're going down and we can see it. And you know what? In the spirit, they know they're going down. They know they're going down, all right? They're being despised, man. Like the prophecy says, they're getting ready to be chased out the earth, man. Okay? So it says that rule the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. And that's what's getting ready to happen. When all you devils are brought down, even them devils in Russia, the Lord's using Russia to destroy America. But guess what? Those Edomites in Russia, they're going down also. They're not ruling next. No Hamitic nation's going to rule. No Ishmaelite nation's going to rule. No Moabites, no Chinese or Japanese, they're going to rule. No, the children of Israel are going to rule, that begins with Yahweh Shai. All right? Yeah? So it says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. That's what is going to happen. When this system's finally destroyed, all right, we're going to break forth into singing. We're going to be happy, man. We can't wait for America to be destroyed. That's why these prophecies, when they're coming to pass, bro, it's exciting to brothers, man. Because we can't wait for Babylon the Great to be destroyed. We can't wait for a new world, bro. We're stuck in this fucking society. We hate it here, man. And that's the truth. You know, and sometimes some days are like unbearable, but what keeps you going is the mindset that the Lord's about to destroy this place. Yahweh Shai is coming back to set the earth back in righteousness, man, to clean everything up. Because everything right now is just out of whack in the planet. And who is it because of? The Edomites. In particular, the American devils, man. The English devils, the French devils. These oppressors, man. They got to go down. And ultimately, all these Edomites. All right? So let me read it here from here. Verse 11, it says, Isaiah 14 and 11, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All right? How art thou? Yeah, that pomp, their pride is getting brought down, and it's happening in front of our faces. This truth is bringing them down. The truth and the prophetic, the prophecies written in this Bible are bringing these devils down, and we can see it. Us in the know, we see this. All right? How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? So now Esau's getting, it's all everything Esau's done to weaken everyone on the planet. All right, think about it like this. How is it fair that these Edomites, right, which we know why it's happened though, but Esau has got all the best parts of the earth. They lived anywhere in the planet. They live the best, while the lesser nations, so to speak, in particular us Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, we live in shithole conditions. We barely have money to scrape by. We barely pay our rents. Sometimes, you know, some conditions are so bad. You know, obviously us in the faith, we're nor abased or abound. But, you know, conditions that our people live in are so bad, they starve to death, man. That's a reality. So now all this is coming back on you devils, man. It's time. All right? So it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Yeah. So Lucifer is a man on earth, man. And heaven represents a position of power, leadership, rulership. The so-called white man, he's been in the heaven. He's been in his heaven. He's been on top, while everyone else, in particular us Israelites, have been at the bottom. All right? He's been the one on top of the planet. He's been the one everyone looks to, the hunk of the earth and all this bullshit. But now they're going down. Everyone's seeing them for the weasels that they are. All right? It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. Yeah, with their satellites, their space pilots and all this, right? I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Lord. The Lord, right? I will sit also upon the mount of the congregations in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And that's what these wicked elites' mentality has been. And that trickles down onto their little peon Edomites too. They really think they're exalted. They think they're gods. All right? But they're not. They're just men, in particular the wicked elites. And this is the time you're going to see. That's why us brothers in the faith, we don't envy these devils. We've never envied them. We know that they're going down. We're not in the truth envying them. We know they're going down. Everything that they have, we're going to spoil them. We're taking all of that back. Yahushua is going to take it back. All right. So it says, yea, thou shalt be brought down to hell, and it says to the sides of the pit. You're going to be brought to the hell, meaning you're going to be put to the bottom, because heaven and hell are conditions on earth. You devils, you've been living in heaven on top, while us Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans in your society, we've been living at the bottom. In every country you've oppressed us, we've been at the bottom while you've been at the top. That's heaven and hell. But guess what? Now you so-called white people, the curses are falling upon you, and now you're going down to hell. And you're ultimately going to be put at the bottom when Yahushua returns and enslaves you as a race. You're going to be enslaved, man, for all your lies, your wickedness, your oppression, you know? You're going to be enslaved, man. And thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem, thus saith the Lord. The scriptures say that. You Edomites are going to be punished. All right? So it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners? Exactly. You know, the time's coming where the so-called white people, the men, women, and children, they're going to be despised. Are these the people that had us at the bottom? Are these the people that was enslaving us? And everyone's going to look at them like that. The Israelites, us Israelites, Negro, Latino, Native American descent, we're going to look at them like that. The heathens are going to look at them like that. They're going to be despised right now. Well, right now that's happening to them. People are starting to despise these so-called white people, man. All right? Because they're pieces of shit. They're devils, man. It's starting to happen to them now. All right, on a global scale. But guess what? It's going to ultimately happen to them when they're just totally brought down. Are you people were ruling? That's what's getting ready to happen, man. So all this, that Russia being a guard unto the lesser nations, is prophecy of America getting, about to be getting this judgment, man. All right. So, you know, with that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Shalom, shalom.